Great day, grade 7 learners! Welcome to another meaningful session of learning useful writing and communication skills. Let's start with prayer.
Let us pray the St. Francis prayer. All together. Lord, make me an instrument of your peace. Where there is hatred, let me sow love. Where there is injury, pardon. Where there is doubt, faith. Where there is despair, hope. Where there is darkness, light. And where there is sadness, joy. O Divine Master, grant that I may not so much seek to be consoled as to console, to be understood as to understand, to be loved as to love. For it is in giving that we receive, and it is in pardoning that we are pardoned, and it is in dying that we are born to eternal life. Amen.
Last week we discussed Quarter 3, Module 1. We used correct and appropriate multimedia resources in getting details. We also learned to distinguish the characteristics of giving information, instructions, explanation, and narrating personal account or factual events. At the end of the discussion, you were asked to complete all your tasks in your Quarter 3, Module 1.
Before we check your tasks in your Quarter 3, Module 1, let us first recap what we have discussed last week. The use of multimedia resources in giving information, instruction, making explanation, and narrating personal accounts or events. Through the help of the YouTube videos of Miss Robolit's Corner and Miss Bitchology.
Let's talk about using multimedia resources for personal recounts. Before we begin, can you tell if you know the following devices? Let's see how many you know. Do you know what this is? That's right, it's a television. Correct, it's a radio. Good job, it's a video camera. Correct, it's a microphone. Excellent, it's a camera. That's right, it's a computer. Were you able to identify all of them? Good job. These devices have specific purposes or functions, but if you combine them all together, they create what we call multimedia. What is multimedia? The word multimedia comes from two Latin roots, multi and media. Multi or multi means several or many, and media means the main means of mass communication. That includes broadcasting, like your television and radio, publishing, and the internet. In the early days, in order to reach many people, we used to use print media, like letters, newspapers, magazines, and books. But when technology developed, we now have many ways to communicate and reach people. We now have television, radio, internet, social media, and others. Multimedia can be formed through the computer-controlled integration or combination of text, graphics, drawings, still images, animation, audio, video, and any other media where any type of information can be represented, stored, transmitted, and processed digitally. There are 4 uses of multimedia. The first one is giving information. It means giving the facts on a certain issue, topic, or situation. Like when you hear a newscaster telling us the news of the day, or when your teacher is giving a lecture in class. The second use is giving instructions. This is an expression that's used in order that another person does what is instructed or requested. Like when your father teaches you how to fish, or when your mother instructs you on how to cook a meal. The third use of multimedia is for making explanations. This is the act or process of making something clear or easy to understand. It's also telling or showing the reason for or cause of something. Like when you explain why you love basketball or why you like BTS. And lastly, multimedia can be used to narrate events. Narrating events means the art of storytelling. Anytime you tell a story to a friend or family member about an event or an incident in your day, you engage in a form of narration. That being said, you can narrate many stories or actual events. When you do, you are recounting. Recounts are written to retell events that describe past experiences. Whenever you tell a story or event that happened in the past, you are recounting. Personal recount is a spoken or written account of an event or experience that the writer or speaker was personally involved in. Now, if you are personally involved in the event and you are recounting that event, you are making a personal recount. An example would be when you tell a friend about your trip to Bohol, or when you share about your breakup, or about the most embarrassing moment of your life. You are doing a personal recount. Can you recount personal past experience?
The word multimedia comes from two Latin roots, multi and media. Multi meaning several or many, while media meaning in the middle. From that definition, it tells us that materials on the internet or in your class presentations involve several forms of communication to connect the sender and receiver. Moreover, multimedia is a broad term for combining multiple media formats. When we combine text, audio, still images, animation, video, and some interactivity, the result will be multimedia. First, we have text materials. Text is a primary way to transmit information. It is the simplest and oldest resource. This resource can be used in writing instructions, making announcements, giving informations, and narrating events. Most of the text materials can be written in PDF format or MS Word Office. Next, we have PowerPoint slides. It is a presentation program developed by Microsoft. PowerPoint is often used to create business presentations or educational purposes. The presentations are composed of slides, which may contain text, images, and other media such as audio clips and movies. This resource is best to use in giving information, instructions, making explanations, and in narrating events. So I'm going to show you how you're going to access your PowerPoint application in your laptop or your computer desktop. First, go to your Start menu, then look for your PowerPoint application. Open it. And create a new or blank presentation. So this is a sample on how you're going to access your PowerPoint program. So these are the presets for designed templates that you can access for free. So let's just try a few samples. Okay. Then here you can add new slides depending on how many key points or information you're going to add in your presentation. So you can add title and text, then you can add transitions, you can add animations, and a lot more functions. Now we have photographs and images. Illustrations are perhaps the oldest form of media. Nowadays, we have small images such as thumbnails or icons that are often used as visual entry point to larger images or more detailed information. Now, I'm going to show you how you're going to access different photos from the internet. First, go to your browser and type in what image are you looking for specifically. Let's say I'm looking for Japan landscapes art. Okay, so these are the samples of Japan landscape art. So you can use this in your presentations, but just to be safe in using these photos without copyright issues, you can check these tools, then this drop down under usage rights, you should click on Creative Commons licenses so you can use it for free. So these are the options and you can use it in your presentations. Audio files. Your presentation can add sound from a musical background to a spoken explanation by including audio files. Simply record information, instruction, explanation, and narration using a smartphone. Video presentations. Video presents moving pictures and typically combines images and sound for a compelling multimedia experience. GIFs and other forms of animation. Animated files occupy a middle ground between still images and video. GIFs, which is an abbreviation for graphic interchange files, are small files that present a single image or rapidly display a sequence of a few images to give the appearance of motion. Common file types. Below is a table of the common file types of multimedia resources. For text, we have TXT. For text with other elements, we have DOC, DocX, PDF. For PowerPoint slides, we have PPT, PPTX, PPTM, POT, POTX. For images, we have JPEG, PNG, TIF, BMP, or bitmap. For audio, we have MP3, WAV, WMA. For video, we have AVI, WMV, FLV, MOV, MP4. And last, for animation, we have GIF, FLV. Usability of the multimedia resources. It is very important to determine the applicability of these multimedia resources in class presentation, specifically but not limited to in giving information, instructions, making explanations, and in narrating events. So below is a table indicating the applicable use of such resources. Simple questions to ask before using an appropriate media resource in a class presentation. Here is a simple guide before you use and select a media resource to be used in your class presentation. Simply ask yourself the following questions. First, what is my task and purpose? Second, what media resource is applicable to you? Third, do I know how to apply such a resource in my presentation? Fourth, will I be understood if I use this particular resource or the other? And last, is this resource accessible during preparation and during presentation? I hope that these 5 simple questions can help you select the correct media resource. Multimedia is a broad term for combining multiple media formats. Is it true or false? It's true. Multimedia comes only in a single format, making its use exclusive and practical. Is it true or false? False. Because multimedia does not come only in single format. Video presents moving pictures and typically combines images and sound for a compelling multimedia experience. Is it true or false? It's true. GIF is an abbreviation for Grammar Information Facts. Is it true or false? False. It's Graphic Interchange Files. PowerPoint is a product of Microsoft. Is it true or false? It's true.
Well done, class, in learning the different multimedia resources and how to select it appropriately. Now, so let's go back to your task in your Module 1, Quarter 3. Now, you were asked to visit this page from the Department of Health wherein you are asked to read facts about vaccines na entitled Alamin ang Totoong Impormasyon sa Bida Vaccination. So in that link or in your module, it's also in your module, there were questions given and also answers that are answering, of course, the questions that are raised in the module, which will gives us facts about vaccine or gives us information about vaccine. For your pre-assessment, you were asked to identify, based on what we have read, whether the following statements are true or false. So let's go back to let's check now your answers. Number 1, so the cost of vaccines for priority groups will not be shouldered by the Philippine government. So based on the article, is this true or false? False. No? So the vaccine for the priority groups are actually shouldered by the Philippine government. Na? Second question, vaccines differ in their composition and how they trigger the immune response to create antibodies. True or false? Okay, actually, according to the article and the different sources that we have discussed also, vaccines have different compositions. They could be, they can trigger differently in our body. So vaccines can be inactivate, weaken, or kill copies of whole or part of the virus or bacteria or genetic product like the mRNA vaccines that creates protein copies without causing disease. So therefore, this one here is true. Statement number 2. Next, statement number 3. Continue observing the minimum public health standards to aggravate further transmission of the virus. So is this what we are supposed to do? Are we going to continue observing minimum public health standards to aggravate further transmission of the virus? True or false? Okay. So, rigorous increased compliance with public health mitigation strategies are actually needed. Rigorous and strict compliance, which means that instead of minimum public health standards is what we're going to continue to observe, we have to observe maximum public health standards, which means that all that is given by the Department of Health for us to minimize the increase of the cases, we should observe them, no? For us not to aggravate or worsen, instead for us to lessen or stop further transmission of the virus, no? So what are these strategies, no? So the vaccination, physical distancing, use of masks, hand hygiene, and isolation and quarantine, no? These are all essential to limit the spread of SARS-CoV-2 for us to be protected also, especially our public health. Na? So this one is definitely false. Na? So we should continue observing maximum public health standard to minimize further transmission of the virus. Okay, statement number 4. Frontline health workers, senior citizens, indigent population, and uniformed personnel are not the priority groups to be vaccinated. True or false? Yes, now these mentioned priority groups are the ones that are high risk because of their exposure while they are on duty. That's why as they are continue fulfilling their duties in both public and private sectors, therefore they are considered as the vulnerable groups. So the frontline health workers, the senior citizens, the indigent population, and the uniformed personnel, they are the prioritized group according or guided by the principle of equity. Therefore, this one is false. They are the priority groups. Number 5, the government is currently in the advanced stages of negotiations with various vaccine manufacturers. So, are we able to have negotiations already? Yes, of course. So, in fact, at the moment, our government have already encouraged parents to have even 5 years old and above to be vaccinated for us all to be fully protect our public health.
Next activity, you are asked to visit the site, the given link, and read from the content source of the National Center for Immunization and Respiratory Diseases dated April 4, 2021, the authorized and recommended vaccines. So these are, and also the vaccines that are under phase 3 clinical trials. So these are the vaccines that are under phase 3 clinical trials. So in your next activity, you are asked to, from the pool of the names of vaccines, you are asked to identify from them those which are already given authorization and recommendation to be used in the United States and other parts of the world, and which are under phase 3 clinical trials. So these are the given links to identify them. So what are the correct answers again based on the source that is given to us? So under the authorized, we have the Pfizer vaccine, the Moderna's COVID-19, Janssen COVID-19 vaccine, or the Johnson & Johnson's. And under the phase 3 clinical trial are the AstraZeneca and Novavax COVID-19 vaccine. So this is 1 point each. So again, that's for 5 points. Next activity, based on our discussion and based on the sources, you are asked to write the meaning of the following acronyms. First off is the EUA. What does it mean, class? Okay, Emergency Use Authorization. So it is the company or the organization that gives the authorization in the usage of the vaccine or the medicines. Next, FDA. What does it mean? Food and Drug Administration. DOH. Department of Health. WHO, World Health Organization. And of course, PIA,
So there is where we gathered information. Na? So that is Philippine Information Agency. Okay, in the next activity, you are asked to identify whether the following statement is an instruction or a simple sentence. If it is an instruction, you are asked to write letter I. So instruction again is giving direction or guide for something to be done, accomplished, or performed. While if it is a sentence, simple sentence, then it is not instruction, it's only either giving information, explanation, or narrating, personal recount, or events. So number 1, wear masks even you are already vaccinated. Is it instruction or simple sentence? It is an instruction. It is giving you a direction. Next, number 2, wait for your turn during vaccination. Instruction. Your vaccination can contribute a lot to health and safety of our community. Simple sentence. It is explaining or giving an information. Next, your worries won't do anything about vaccination. Simple sentence. 5, tell the vaccine staff if you have allergies. Instruction. It asks you to perform an act. Therefore, it is an instruction. So again, if it is not a simple sentence or if it is not an instruction, then it is a simple sentence which is either giving information, explanation, or narration. Next activity, you are asked again to visit the given link, or it's also in the module. Now you are asked to read the articles, and then based on the pictograph here, you are asked to give the difference between COVID-19 from Wuhan and the new COVID-19 variant from UK. So you are asked to write at least 5 sentences. So in this activity, you are again to answer it in your notebook and send me a output copy photo of your output. Now, to learn more about COVID-19 and the implications of its variants, let us view this video from The Guardian. Okay, for your final task, you are asked to give your reflection or answer explaining this question. If you will be asked to be vaccinated for free, what will be your stand? Will you agree or disagree? Since our government is now encouraging parents to have their children vaccinated, so did you agree to be vaccinated? Yes or no, and then explain your side. So that's it. Those are your activities for your quarter 3, module 1. Again, all tasks, you are asked to send a photo of your outputs in my messenger. So now, let's proceed with your second module.
Now, let's proceed with your quarter 3, module 2.
Your quarter 3, module 2 is entitled The Use of Appropriate Oral Language, Stance and Behavior in Giving Informative Speech. So based on the title, we're going to learn about appropriate oral language. So what type of language we're going to use, how are we going to stand or present ourselves, and what are the behaviors that we have to remember in giving informative speech.
Have you been asked to recount an event or story in class? How about present or discuss or report an idea or topic? Are you ready? Or will you be willing to volunteer?
One of the vital skills that students must acquire is communication skills. Everybody say that again. Which means having the ability to articulately express oneself. This paves way to academic success and future career prospects. In today's challenging environment, despite the pandemic situations, we must all find ways to continue for us to nurture and develop ourselves. Even though education is delivered modular or online nowadays, you must take advantage of the time that you are given more of being at home and strive harder and find passion in enhancing your skills and abilities. Value your time by trying your very best to be productive, especially in terms of contributing betterment and improvement for yourself and others to assure future employability. Hence, we will learn more about the appropriate oral language stance and behavior in giving information. So in today's challenging environment, students must not only possess academic expertise but also requisite skills to enhance your learning and employability prospect in the future. So when you are going to work, it's very important that you have a good communication skill. That is one of the requirement in getting a job. So at the end of this module or with this module, we are going to learn to identify what is an oral language. Appreciate the importance of oral language. Identify what is informative speech. And construct your own informative speech. Therefore, by the end of this module, you're going to construct your speech and deliver that speech using appropriate oral language, stance, and behavior. Are you excited, class? Let's begin! Before that, so this is your pre-assessment activity. Again, answer all tasks in your English notebook for the meantime. And then later on, I'll be sending Google link for your activities for the second module. So, number 1, you have 5 sentences in here. You are going to identify the correct answer, of course. It refers to the position in which someone holds their body when standing or sitting. Is it posture, balance, rapport, gravity? It is a feeling of self-assurance arising from one's appreciation of one's own abilities or qualities. What do you call that feeling? Trust, promise, confidence, regret. Which is the best example of oral language? Silent reading, informative speech, storytelling, or tableau? Number 4. It is an example of oral language that formally discuss a particular topic in a public meeting or legislative assembly, in which opposing arguments are put forward. Is it symposium, debate, essay, or oration? Number 5. The best way to communicate to your audience with conviction is through A. Memorization, stand straight, shouting, eye contact. So, what is the best way to communicate to your audience? With conviction. Okay, so again, answer that in your English notebook. Okay, so before we discuss our topic, let us first look at the following pictures below and answer the given questions. For the meantime, let's identify who are in the pictures. Okay, can you name the person in the photo? She is a singer, actress, and host. She is Miss Tony Gonzaga. Next, number 2. He is, what do you know about him?
He is an actor, game or show host, Luis Manzano. Next. What do you know about her? She's also a game or a show host, Miss Ellen DeGeneres. And last one we have, okay, what is his name? He is Steve Harvey, a well-known host, also, especially host for Miss Universe. Okay, now, so what do these TV personalities have in common? So they go out in TV, they are hosts, and what can you say about them? They are considered as a good speaker. Can you consider them as a good speaker? What are the factors, or how can we say that a host is a good speaker? So you're going to answer this question. Now, third question. Is good communication skills enable students to conduct with others well? Meaning, if you are articulate or you know well how to express yourself, does it mean it will be easy for you to get along with your family or make friends with others? Okay. Yes or no, and then explain. Is good communication skill enabling student to conduct with others? Okay, so let's now discuss oral language. No? Oral language, sometimes called spoken language, includes speaking and listening. Okay, so when you are communicating, it includes speaking and listening. These are the ways wherein humans communicate with one another, which means that it's a two-way. It's always two-way. Somebody is speaking, and when somebody's speaking, you have to learn the skill of listening. And at the same time, when you are the listener, you have to learn to understand the person speaking. So it is a human way of a human to communicate with each other. Oral language skill provides the foundation for word reading and comprehension. They are the heart of listening and reading comprehension, serving as a predictor for both. So for us to be able to identify our comprehension skill, we must develop our communication skill. Now, why are oral language skill important? Number one, oral language is the foundation of written language. Having a solid foundation in oral language will help you become successful readers and strong communicators as well, as build your confidence and overall sense of well-being. Reading is a language-based skill. The relationship between oral language and reading is reciprocal, with each influencing the other to varying degrees as children progress through school. Which means how we start at an early age, and as we learn and continue to read growing up, it should also build our cognitive, linguistic, and social skills. Reciprocal, there's the word reciprocal in here, which means that reading and language is reciprocal, and that oral language and reading are reciprocal. Reciprocal meaning they are mutual, they are give and take, shared or equal. So the more that you read, the more that you learn, or the way for us to learn is when we read or when we listen to good speakers or speeches. So the more you listen and read, the more you learn. The more you learn, the greater you become. You could be able to communicate your thoughts
feelings, either written or oral. Next, number 3. Why are oral language skill important? You must be able to understand language. Kailangan naiintindihan mo ang ibig sabihin ng salita at an oral level in order to be expected to understand it at the text level. What does it mean? Oral level, text level. Which means that naiintindihan mo ang kahulugan ng salita. You understand the meaning of the word. Now, kaya mo bang gamitin ng tama sa pangungusap ang salitang yon? Do you have the ability to use it correctly in sentence? So, it should go hand in hand. So, sabi nga dito, it should be reciprocal. They should be together. You should develop it together. Now, vocabulary is the main component. By developing the skill of using them throughout the day, your vocabulary, kapag alam mo ng ibig sabihin, kaya mo siyang gamitin sa pangungusap, at kapag gusto mong i-express ang sarili mo, you could be able to express clearly and completely your thoughts using appropriate words. Then that is the most important skill you should master, both for social and academic success. Next, number 4, it's difficult to learn to read words if you do not know what they mean. Diba? Okay. So, ibig sabihin, mahirap basahin kung hindi mo alam i-decode. At kapag di mo alam i-decode, most likely hindi mo rin alam ang ibig sabihin. Reading is a natural process, class, like learning to speak. Surround yourself with good books. Reading requires making meaning out of print. Diba? Out of the words. There is a need to know different sounds in spoken language and be able to connect those words to written letters. In order to decipher or understand words, deep background and knowledge, vocabulary knowledge, is needed to understand the words that we need. Eventually, connecting the text. So you're going to connect the words fluently, and then the grammar, using the correct grammar, punctuation, and sentence structure. So, lahat ng natutunan ninyo simula nung bata pa kayo, it will contribute to your oral language skill. Hence, it is important to learn oral language. Okay, so children with weak oral language skill are at risk for learning to read and comprehend. So therefore, it's very important that every day we learn something, we read, we listen to good speakers, and from there, the words, we could be able to express ourselves correctly. When we develop this oral language skill, then it will be able to help us to master communication for oral and academic success. Okay, so one example of oral language is informative speech, from the word informative, meaning you are giving or providing information. So when you're providing information, you give details. So this type of speech use descriptions. You describe, you demonstrate. So you meaning you show or you present ideas or concept using either vivid details and definition to explain the subject, person, or place to the audience. So there's an audience, there's a listener, there is a learner who wants to understand the concept or idea that you are talking about. It makes a complex topic easy to understand or offer a point of view, which means that it can be that you want to discuss it in detail, that particular topic, but you have to make the discussion easy for the learners to understand or the audience to be able to grasp your idea. Mahirap yung nagsasalita tayo pero tayo lang nakakaintindi ng ibig natin sabihin. Because first and foremost, when we deliver a speech, our purpose is for our audience, learner, or listeners to understand what we are saying or delivering. Okay, so one way for us to be able to have a good delivery of our speech is having a correct stance or behavior. Okay, so paano ba tayo magkakaroon nito? So correct stance and behavior. First is the gesture. Okay, gestures is your body, no? Your body should communicate your message. Keep your audience attention by your gestures, incorporating your head, arm, and hands. So it should go together to be able to deliver your message. Hindi yung nakatayo ka lang, pero ay ganun. So you can move your body appropriately. Of course, your movement should be appropriate depending on your delivery. Use positive gestures to sway your audience. When using visual aids, so it's nice to prepare visual aids also, no? And if you are using a visual aid, you point and look at the relevant data. So like this one that we are talking about, then your teacher can point also at relevant data. Or you can use a transition or a animation so that the audience could be able to grasp more the details that you are discussing or delivering. Next, move around the presentation. So for example, when either you're standing or you're sitting down depending on the situation. Right now we are online learning. So even if the teacher is sitting, so the teacher could be able to have a different movement also, but still making sure that even the students, no, same two-way, it's a two-way, the learner and the listener and then the speaker, that they are going to communicate their body language also to each other. You can move around the presentation space if you are speaking in front of a lot of audience. No? Your speech will be more dynamic when you are moving. No? Do you remember your teacher when they are teaching in the classroom? No? So your teacher does not only sit at the back of the room or in front, sitting at the table. Instead, the teacher goes around to get the attention of the learners. Na? Okay, next one is the posture. Paano ba yung tayo? Tamang tayo o tamang pag-upo? No? So keep good posture. So stand straight with your shoulder back. So straight dapat yung likod mo, hindi ka nakaslouch. You relax it properly, no? Do not cross arm like this one, no? Do not do that when you are talking to someone, no? Either you put your hand on your side or on your back, no? Or you can put it inside your pocket, no? If you are confused where to put your hand, no? But never cross your arm. Okay? Face audience as much as possible and keep your body open, no? So approach, posture basically is the approach or your attitude. For example, you're applying for scholarship. How will you present yourself? You're applying for scholarship or job. No? Are you going to behave in a way that is intended to impress or mislead? Okay, so you have to be careful of your posture. No? Next one. Okay, so before we go on the other tips under correct stance and behavior, I'd like to show you first this video of Cheryl May Gabay. No, as we watch her video, I want you to observe, no, aside from correct gesture and position, what are other tips we can get from this video on correct stance and behavior?
Cheryl May Gabay, 22 years old, and I am your next accounting clerk. I am a fresh graduate from Xavier University at Ateneo de Cavite with a bachelor's degree of business administration, major in financial management. My passions are making art, editing, and dancing. Speak English, Tagalog, and Visayan. And also, I am capable of using Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel.
Sorry.
It's art, making art, editing,
Sorry about that.
and dancing. I can speak English, Tagalog, and Visayan. And also, I am capable of using Microsoft Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. I am an optimistic, passionate, hardworking, creative, and well-organized. I am applying for the position of accounting clerk, which I will contribute my learnings in financial analysis, economics, investment strategies during my bachelor's degree. I have experience working with Mitsubishi Motors, Taguig and Oro during my internship, wherein it develops my skills and gives me great insight into how the industry works. I am willing to do my best and learn new things so that I can be truly, globally competitive. Feel free to connect with my number and Gmail. Thank you for lending your time watching my video resume.
Okay, it's very short, but there are a lot of things that we can learn from Cheryl May, isn't it, class? No? Aside from having a good gesture and posture, no? So, as you can see,
Hello, good morning. I am your time watching my
okay,
video
sorry for
resume.
that, class. All right, so she had a proper breathing. No? She is relaxed as she delivers her speech, and deep breath, ensuring that her voice holds power and proper projection of her voice. Um, Enough volume, not shouting. Na? Use slow and measured breathing to pace your speech. Huwag yung mabilis, huwag din napakabagal. When it is needed to pause, you pause. Na? Especially if you would like to emphasize key points or important ideas. Okay, so proper breathing. Next up is eye contact. Maintaining eye contact is very important. No? So as what we have said earlier, you look at your listener. No? You can move from face to face. For example, you have a lot of audience or there are several people in front of you. So you can look at one person to another. Make eye contact while speaking. Ensure that the audience is engaged or they are listening to you. Okay, maintaining eye contact when answering an audience member's question. So you can also ask them a question during your discussion so that you are assured that the listeners are engaged. This conveys sincerity and credibility. And of course, facial expression. The key determinant of the meaning behind the message is your facial expression. Remember that the audience is watching your face during presentation. When you speak, your face tells more clearly than any other part of your body. Now, so try your very best to deliver your message through your facial expression. Now, be authentic. Smile when needed. Not smile all the time. No, when needed only, when you have a positive thing that you are talking about. No, meaning you connect your emotion to your words. So whatever is the message of your words, you try to connect your body gesture and your facial expression. Okay, so again, aside from having a good oral language or communication skill, you must also observe correct stance and behavior when delivering an informative speech or a message. Okay, now another thing that we have learned is it's very nice also if we're going to have a visual aids or presentation aids. Presentational aids are items other than the words or speech that are used to support the intent of the speaker. In particular, they are the visual aids, audio aids, or other supporting technology. Visual aids include projector, physical object, photographs, diagrams, charts, and so on. Like what we have right now, Mom have a PowerPoint presentation with graphs and pictures. Na? Okay, so charts are graphical presentations of data or sketch presenting an ordered process. So when you present, You should know also what will be the things that you should be presenting first, next, and next. Next is a diagram. So you can use also a diagram. It is a graphic design that explains rather than represent, especially a drawing that shows arrangement and relation. So as what we have said or learned during our lesson on non-print materials, that in one photo, it could be able to show a lot of information. And so charts and diagrams are very useful for presentation instead of the listeners looking at texts or print materials. It is also more engaging if we are going to have only key words and then visuals. Next is a graph. Of course, graph is a pictorial representation of the relationship of quantitative data using dots, lines, bars, pie slices, and the likes. So again, we have example, a line graph, so commonly used to display change over time as series of data points connected by straight lines, segments of two axes, the y-axis going up and the x-axis going to the right or to the left. Now, usually going to the right, which represents information or data that changes over time. Next one is, of course, the bar graph. So ideal for comparing two or more values or values over time. Next is the pie graph. Pie graph is a circular statistical graphic which is divided to illustrate numerical proportion. Okay, so it also has its what we call label. Next is posters. Posters are designed to be both eye-catching and informative. Posters may be used for many purposes. They are frequent tools for advertisers. Maps. So for example, we would like to learn about places. Isn't it that it is easier to learn about locations and places if there are maps? They are very useful if information is clear and limited. There are all kinds of maps. So for example, if you want to learn about population, weather, ocean current, political and economic maps, so you will be using a different types of map depending on what information you would like to get. Okay, so right now, if you are traveling, it's very useful if we have Waze or Google Map. That is what we are using nowadays. Next is picture and drawing. When you are presenting like this one, class discussion, it's very useful. The learners are engaged and it gives us more idea about what is being talked about when there are picture and drawings that are being used. A photograph or a drawing is the best way to show an unfamiliar but important data. Next, of course, is video or audio recordings. This one, we can attest to this one that videos and especially those that are uploaded online, which we could be able to download and share, audio recordings, they are very useful tool in explaining or learning informations. A segment of a podcast, a well-chosen video or audio recording may be a good choice to enhance your speech. So you can use these presentation aids when you are giving an informative speech. So on your activity, again, you're going to apply what you have learned, proper, correct stance and behavior, and using presentation aids. So you're going to create your speech depending on a topic that will be given to you. So this will be your application. So you're going to read the following situations and you're going to create your own vlog. Okay, so choose to work with. So number one, imagine that you are a sales agent of a gadget. You have to persuade your customer to avail your product. So you have a product and you're going to sell your product to a possible client. Okay? Imagine you are a student leader. And you're going to invite your classmate or group mates to become member of the organization. Inform them of the requirements in your organization or club. So you pretend that you're the leader and that you are inviting others to become a member. What are the requirements and so on and so forth. So you're going to make your speech, deliver the speech with correct stance and behavior, and then you can use presentation aids. Okay, class? And then letter C, imagine you are given a task to defend the less fortunate. Yung mga hindi may kaya, no? Like the street children, beggar, na differently abled individual, or so on. Now, what are you going to do? You're going to discuss ways on how to be able to help. Okay, so what are our tips that we have learned earlier from the discussions? First, whenever you're going to give an informative speech or you're going to deliver a speech, first, what do? You introduce yourself, right? Introduce yourself. What is your objective? You talk about your, what is your objective or goal? And then you talk about it and what do you want to happen. So first, you make your speech or dialogue before taking a video, of course. Mag-practice muna para sigurado kapag kumuha na kayo ng video, you are ready to deliver your speech. Okay, class? Okay. So this one, you are going to send me a video again, either through Messenger, PM me, or if you cannot, you just post it in the English classroom page. Next activity, you are asked to identify whether the following statements are true or false based on our discussions. Okay, next, guideposts in writing an informative speech. So ito naman yung mga pwede nyo maging checklist sa pagsulat ng inyong dialogue or speech. Okay, we have preparing to write. Ano ba pwede mong gawin bago ka magsulat? No? So first, brainstorm on the topic. So pag-isipan mo muna, Maigi, ano bang topic ko? Ano ba yung gusto kong maging topic? So what are the things that I'm going to talk about in my topic? No? For example, student of the new normal. Yun yung topic ko. What are the informations that I know about my topic? How do I want to deliver it? What will be the informations that I will discuss first? Second, third, how will I end it? And so on and so forth. So brainstorming means you're going to think about your topic, write it down, what are your keywords, and so on and so forth. And then you plan and write down your speech. Na? Solicit as many ideas as you can. You can also use the internet if necessary. Group your ideas into logical order. So ano yung mga una, susunod, at pangalawa, panghuli ko na sasabihin, ano pa yung mga informations na pwede ko pang idagdag, how can I make my presentation enthusiastic, clear, interesting, and complete. So those are the things that you need to prepare. Now, when you are writing already, or when you have started writing, or while writing, what can you do? Start your speech with, of course, introduction. Yung sinabi ko kanina, everything that you do. For example, when you report, when you would like to apply for a job, for a scholarship, or you would like to send a letter, kahit na pag nagsulat ka lang ng letter, kailangan you have to introduce yourself. Sino ka ba? Kasi syempre, the person that you are, the audience or the listener, does not, you try to think about it that they do not know you. So you have to, it is a must that you have to introduce yourself first. Next, use the following questions as your guide in writing. What kind of introduction would you like to use? So pwede kang gumamit ng quotation, question, or simple story related to the team. So how would you like to start the conversation or the speech? What theme do you need to have in mind? Ano bang gusto mong maging pattern ng inyong speech? So pwede mong pag-isipan yan. What parts of your introduction are necessary in the speech? Are there parts that are not related to the team? So, for example, meron kang mga sinasama dun sa speech mo but is not related, or parang lumalayo na sa... So you can still revise your speech na. Did you write an introduction which steers the interest of the reader? So, maganda rin na meron tayong magandang introduction that will catch the reader's attention or the audience attention, dapat hindi lang introduction, dapat tuloy-tuloy na makikinig sila sa iyo, no? So, you continuously get the interest of the reader to continue listening to you hanggang sa matapos na yung speech mo. Writing the body of your speech. So, yung pag sinabi nating body, eto na talaga yung kung ano ba yung gusto mong i-discuss. Ano ba yung gusto nilang matutunan. Ano ba yung information na gusto mong i-deliver. We call that the body. So, the body should be clear. It should be concise. Hindi dapat napakahaba. No? Pero, in detail naman, no? Kung ano yung mga importanteng dapat mong sabihin, ma-deliver mo siya doon sa speech mo. So, short introduction and then the body. What do you want? What do you want to deliver? What is it that you want at the end of the conversation or the speech, and so on and so forth. No? So, write the body of the speech by going over your list of ideas gathered. Organize them into paragraphs and use the following questions as your guide in writing. First question. What are the bigger ideas? So, ano ba yung pinaka-idea na gusto mo na i-deliver sa iyong speech? Na? What is your bigger idea? What are the supporting details? So, are the supporting details explaining or giving proof or understanding of your main idea? Which ideas are not related at all? So, what do? You remove that, na? What are the most important ideas and least important ideas? Did you organize the speech from the most to the least important ideas? So, did your paragraph present a clear flow of ideas? So, again, you can use presentation. No? Or are the ideas scattered and difficult to understand? Baka naman na-discuss mo na yan sa first sentence, tapos binalikan mo na naman sa fifth sentence. Hindi, dapat maayos yung flow ng iyong ideas. Finally, at the end of your writing, what should you do? Anong dapat mong gawin? Kunyari, natapos mo na yung speech mo. So, anong next na gagawin mo? Finalize your speech by writing a conclusion. So, at the end of your paragraph or your speech, either you make a generalization, meaning, ano ang conclusion mo dun sa speech mo, or you can summarize what you have discussed. You recap the main points that you have given from paragraph 1 to the body to the end of your paragraph. Very short summary. Now, if either of the two, which will be most appropriate or suited for your speech. Na? So, use the following questions as your guide while writing. Na? How will you end your speech? Will you leave a challenge to the reader? So, that's one thing that you can do also. Will you use quotation or question? Syempre, depende kung ano yung objective mo, yun yung gagawin mo, di ba? Everything that you should do has a purpose. Hindi yung gagawa ka ng bagay na para lang humaba, para lang magandang pakinggan. Hindi. Everything that you will do for your speech has a purpose. It all contribute to your objective, main objective in delivering your speech or message. Did you summarize the main points of your speech? What words in your conclusion will be remembered? Okay, so for your last activity, no, so you are asked to choose the correct answer for each number. So that's it. Those are your activities for Module 2. Again, Google link will be sent after our discussion. So you're going to type in your final answers for Module 2. And then you're going to send me a video of your output, video vlog. No, either you are going to choose only one, no? Agent of a gadget. Okay, this PowerPoint is nagmamadali. Agent of a gadget, a student leader, or you're going to defend the less fortunate. Na? So you're going to send me a video of that again, and either through Messenger or in our English classroom page. Thank you so much for attending our second week for third quarter.